So in that sense, at the very least, it would have an impact. But what's interesting to me is to see that you're not an outright atheist, as one may be likely to presume, but you're more of an agnostic. So you still have an open mind, which is very interesting.
Oh, I think as a scientist, we have to have an open mind. I think some scientists are the worst case for not having an open mind, particularly in the AI world. Terrible people. This is what intelligence is. That's it. I mean, I like to keep an open mind on religion. Yes, there could be a God. I'm not saying there definitely isn't. But on everything, I think people talk about telepathy. Can we communicate brain to brain and so on? Well, maybe we can. We don't know how to do it yet, but let's see. Let's find out. I mean, there are some things that I'm very skeptical about. Ghosts, for example. I mean, I love the film Ghost, but when it comes to are there ghosts, people that have died, and I find that scientifically probably less plausible than God. So if you rank, but not impossible, but very, very
Unlikely.
highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So and if I had to rank things on what's likely and what's not, ghosts would probably come near the bottom of the list.
So what was the most surprising thing that you have discovered for yourself since becoming an artificial intelligence and robotics researcher?
I think
that you totally did not expect or foresee.
Okay, well, they didn't expect. I mean, with little robots like this, a lot of research into putting simple learning algorithms and then seeing what they learned, even with it just trying to learn how do I move forwards, what do I do with my wheels to do that and not bump into something, and the different behaviors that they come up with. Robots like this we had for one time on a tiled flooring, little tiles, little gaps in the carpet, and the robot somehow it picked up, learned to move along the lines between the tiles, and no idea it was going to do anything, but a particular feature in the environment that we hadn't really thought about, and it learned a particular way of behaving. One robot, one time I was demonstrating it at a school, and the children just stopped it moving. It tried to go forwards and it was wrong. The children know you're going to bump into something. It tried to go backwards, it was wrong. Everything it did was wrong. It just stopped. It was still working, it was still operating. It had decided, despite the fact that it had a goal to move forwards, that was its basic goal, move forwards. Everything I do is wrong. I'm not going to do anything. And it had stopped. And that amazed me. Robots, you give them a goal to learn. It can learn to do something opposite, something that you didn't expect. It committed suicide. It just switched itself. I mean, it was still switched on and it was still operating, but it wasn't going anywhere. I'm not going to go anywhere. Everything I do is wrong. I'm not going to go anywhere. And so I think there's some basic things with machines learning. And once you allow a machine to learn, you can't be sure exactly how it's going to behave and how it's going to perform.
So that connects very much into the next question, because it seems that we are pretty much totally incapable of predicting the emerging behavior of any potential artificial intelligence. And therefore, the logical question is, I mean, Ray Kurzweil is very often criticized for being way too optimistic about the effect of the technological singularity on us as a species. So I have the habit of asking all my interviewees to rate our chances of survival. And I'm always greatly surprised about how low people rank it. So in your opinion, what's our chance, what's our probability of surviving the singularity?
As humans?
As humans or in any other shape or form? Maybe cyborgs, maybe non-corporeal entities, doesn't matter, as long as there's continuity between us and whatever comes after.
I think if we look humans and humans out of the singularity, it's very low. I mean, I wouldn't say probability. There probably will be a few survive on a remote island somewhere. They probably called England or something like that. This island where cyborgs and machines don't want to go because the weather is so awful. They're not going to go there. So something like that. So it's not that there's zero probability, but there's just a few as a percentage will survive. In terms of cyborgs, I think if we can link the intellectual abilities of machines with human brains, then there's a very high probability that that's how we will move forward. So, you know, you could be 80, 90%. So I'm like Ray. I'm optimistic in a cyborg sense. I'm very pessimistic in a human sense. But note, I didn't go to 100% because I do feel there is that Terminator scenario where the intelligent machines, they get in control and that's it. We're out. Whether you're a cyborg or you're a human, the end is there.
Yeah, because my concern with that is the following. The rate of development, the potential or actual rate of development in the sort of cyborgization or the merging between human and machine intelligence may actually be way slower for a number of reasons than the actual development of self-sufficient AI on its own.
Yeah,
and therefore, if AI develops much, much faster than cyborgs, eventually there may be a point in which both humans on its own or human cyborgs are grossly incapable to match or compete against AI. And therefore, both cyborgs and humans may become obsolete.
I have to say, you're making some very valid points. I mean, it was 2002 that I had my last implant. If anybody doesn't know, 100 electrodes in my nervous system, linking my nervous system to the computer and the internet. What did I experience? I experienced ultrasonic input, an extra sense. It worked, yes, but it's just a small thing. I experienced controlling a robot hand remotely over the internet from brain signals. It worked fine, no big deal. And I experienced a telegraphic form of communication with my wife.
Yeah.
Great. It was a fantastic scientific experience, but that was 2002.
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Since then, with implants, we've had 2 or 3 further experiments, dependent on what you count, usually with somebody who has a serious illness. The Matt Nagel experiment that John Donahue, excellent though it was, fantastic, but it's just one of 2 or 3 the things that have been conducted that you would have to say are in the direction of cyborgization. Why hasn't Ray Kurzweil had an implant? I challenge him, Ray, come on, if there is this, if the action, he should get on with it himself, but others should. I'm really surprised, and hence I agree with you that we're not really doing the sort of experimentation and testing things, and that was 2002. It's now 2010. We should have hundreds or thousands of people with implants in them. I know we do have some with magnetic implants, so I know there are other types of implants, but linking the brain and the nervous system, and do we have any at the moment? I don't see it. So we are going very, very slowly, and that is a worrying feature as far as the future is concerned in terms of cyborgs. I think if I get the feeling intelligent machines are going to take over a couple of years down the line, then I will be straight onto that operating table and have the neural implant in my brain. But what sort of facilities it will give me, what sort of features, it will be very small experimental extras.